Hello, everybody. Crimson Buddhist here. So we're doing podcast number. I don't know if this is 4 or 5. We did one last week, but it was pretty terrible. I think so. I didn't upload it and I didn't cut it. So yeah, I'm Brock. They're gonna call me that once again. Going around the circle.
I'm Aaron. Crimson Vigil.
I thought he was done for a second. I got nervous.
You got nervous.
Let me list off the whole list.
He's Bogan.
Extremist with an E, extremist with no E, Tamek, Bogan, Alex, and the Saturday Night DJ.
And I'm Adam.
Okay. So every time these guys don't understand what's going on whenever I do the introduction. So I think we got it successfully.
I knew perfectly damn well what's going on.
I got everything down. I mean, everything went perfect in my opinion.
No cards don't fly.
That sounds like a hike. Some out of your fortune cookie. No cards do not fly. Set sail to the wind.
All right. This one's going to be a little bit more gaming related, I suppose, since E3 just happened. We'll start with that because that's all Adam wrote down for us to talk about.
I have other stuff.
Okay. Well, we're going to start talking about E3. Adam, do you want to start off, or do you want me to go?
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
My topic, since everyone was talking about it this morning, was Dead Space 3.
Okay.
And I don't think it's going to get ruined at all with co-op because I watched a article earlier today on, I think it was G4, but it's like you were talking about earlier. You are going to miss some parts of the story here and there if you don't play co-op. But it's not really going to change the story all that much. It'll just add little things here and there. But I mean, if you want to play by yourself, it'll still feel like the old Dead Space, all on your own, like no hope kind of deal. But I mean, co-op just adds a little element here and there.
All right. It's going to ruin the game if they don't make the co-op and the single player completely separate. So Dead Space is all about, the creepy factor, like, oh shit, I don't know if the necromorph is going to jump out of that vent, or what's going to happen to me in 3 seconds, or, how's my ammo supply. All that stuff kind of comes into effect, but whenever you do co-op, it doesn't make it any scary. It makes it less scary, I guess. So, I don't know, I think it'll ruin it if they don't make them completely separate. And I could see, like, a few missions you do, not a whole story with co-op. I think that would be okay, I guess, but I don't know. The thing that they showed during E3 is just it looks actiony, so it looks like they're just going away from horror and going into action.
Well, it looks like I've heard people make a comparison. It looks like they're going for more Resident Evil 5.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what I disagree with that because I read an article which they also did explain that in that video that they did of the interview of the guy.
I'm not even talking about.
I'm saying they specifically stated they didn't want to do that, like where they had an AI. Like
Well,
AI does not take over once you.
No.
Well, I wasn't actually referring to having a partner with you all the time, even in single player. Anyway,
I was just
talking about how like Resident Evil 5 wasn't as scary. Like it got progressively less scary.
And it's not even just because of co-op, although I think that might have had something to do with. I guess I never played the prior Resident Evils. Aaron,
Resident Evil 4 scared the shit out of me.
Was it co-op? Did you have an AI?
No.
It's a single player.
Okay.
You did have an AI with you.
You did have somebody with you though. You had a computer that followed you, and she didn't do anything important.
Okay.
You literally were just trying to keep her safe.
But Resident
And she
Evil,
wasn't with you all the time. It was only like a third of the game.
like half the game.
I was referring though to how Resident Evil 5 went for like a more actiony style than a more horror style.
Yeah.
And that's what people are worried Dead Space 3 is gonna do.
I played Resident Evil 5 for the first time like a week or two ago with Aaron, and there was not a point where I'm just like scared out of my mind. There's a lot of daylight. There's a lot of what's happening. These people even look human. They look a little bit crazy, but they don't look like zombies or anything.
That's the reason why Resident Evil 4 scared me. It was mostly at night, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like
Stormy at night kind of deal.
yeah, it was
You were in a dark
it was
castle.
based in Europe, not in Africa, in the middle of a fucking desert.
And even in that, it had. I think to me at least, it felt like there was a lot more of like the unknown factor.
Yeah.
Like you kind of knew what to expect in Resident Evil 5, but in Resident Evil 4 you had like no idea. Like whenever the regenerators first came,
oh,
I remember just like quitting out of fright because I just I heard the regenerator on the corner and I was just too afraid to go.
To be fair, Bogan quits out of plenty of games.
That's
because
true.
he gets too
Okay,
scared.
Now-
he is the
okay,
biggest pussy
see,
when
though,
it comes to horror games.
But I'm not, and I actually did the same thing. I told you that game scares the shit. Like I played Resident Evil 4 last week,
All right.
like Friday, and it still scared the shit out of me. Even though I had like Chicago typewriter and an infinite rocket launcher, I could kill anything.
Now, and also on the whole co-op note, I think just having co-op makes it less frightening because just having someone to
Yeah.
talk to. Like when I was playing Amnesia, I managed to last 29 minutes whenever I was on Skype with you guys talking while I played it. I've never made it past 10 minutes playing by myself, so there's a sign of it just because I was just distracted.
it's just a mental thing.
One of the things that Amnesia does that makes it even scarier is if they tell you play with your headphones on, don't talk to anyone while you're playing it, play in the dark. They try to make it as immersive as
Yeah.
possible. And once you go for co-op and making it more social, you take out that immersion.
I think there are plenty of games out there, and a lot of things are shifting to the social aspect. And I think that Dead Space was one of the last great single player games where it was a lot about the horror. Could you guys even name another one?
Amnesia.
That's
Other
recent,
than-
and other than Amnesia.
They're coming out with the sequel for it too.
Well, but I can't even think of another game that's that really goes for
That
that
came
horror
close to
aspect.
that came close to Dead Space 1 and 2.
In scariness, no.
Yeah. So everything's moving to this, trying to appeal to even more people. It seems like it almost comes down to that. If we make it co-op, we might be able to sell 2 games where we normally maybe
Well,
only
see,
sell
you
1.
saw that appealing to the more social, even with Dead Space 2 with multiplayer.
Well,
It's
yeah.
really
I
just
don't
selling
mind
to
the
the-
I don't really.
I
mind
mean, it
the
doesn't
multiplayer
affect
as
the
much.
game as
Right.
much, but
It's really just a business aspect of it. I mean, you can either sell to people who like horror games, which is not that big of a
is not as
crowd,
many, yeah.
compared to people who like co-op and more social people, which is a way bigger crowd. You'll probably make way more
And you
money.
get that little bit of horror for the
Yeah.
people that.
That's why Amnesia is a small little indie Steam game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not small, but I mean, it's not they're gonna start branching off and making all these big games like other big companies because there's just not. I mean, they've sold a great amount, but I mean, it's just there's only a certain audience for it,
Right.
and that audience isn't enough to fund multiple big expansions, things like that.
So the people that made Dead Space 1, it was just EA
It was
that
just
published
EA.
it and that did all the programming and all that stuff. And then Visceral Games took over for Dead Space 2, and now they're still doing Dead Space 3. Do you guys know anything else they've done if they're branching out themselves?
I
have no idea.
I've never heard, until Dead Space 2. I didn't even know who the hell Visceral Games was.
Right. I don't know if they've ever done anything in the past or if they're doing anything in the future besides Dead Space. But honestly, it seems like EA is such a big publisher that they can just have
Anybody.
this company, you work on Dead Space. We'll have another company work on something else.
Yeah.
Rob does the same thing even. Ubisoft kind of does the same thing, don't they?
Well,
Well,
they develop all their
They
games.
have,
it's just they just have so many different branches.
I was gonna say they have Ubisoft Montreal work on a project, then Ubisoft blah 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 work on a project, and
Yeah, but I think
It's
that's
still
that's
Ubisoft,
really
though.
different though, because in one case you're saying Visceral Games, you work on this, and you can have a completely diverse team, whereas Ubisoft,
yeah.
they're trying to get all these different cultures to work on different things. It seems like.
Here's the example, Ubisoft. Yeah, like I said, it's all Ubisoft, but they're just different areas of the world developing these games. Unlike EA, where they have Visceral Games, say working on Dead Space, and they have BioWare working on Mass Effect or
Yeah.
something like that. It's
Yeah.
different companies completely. They're just under EA's control. So
Do you guys have anything else to say about Dead Space? Does anybody have for you guys that think that it's not really turning into what Resident Evil 5 was?
I don't
Do you
think
guys,
it's,
whenever you saw the gameplay that they had going on, right? Did you not see that as actiony more than scary?
It was actually because the thing,
I mean-
that might have been a crescendo moment part of the thing where they're not trying to really. I guess when they're showing it off, they don't really want to show the horror factor because they don't want to give away horror
I
scenes or
think
anything
towards
else.
the end it
They
turned
might have
into
just
a
shown
horror.
an actiony crescendo moment
I think
just
toward-
to entice a player to get them to be interested in it.
I think towards the end of that gameplay, it started to turn into a horror
What
type,
part?
where he got eaten by the giant necromorph thing, and you're inside of it, all alone, isolated inside this giant monster.
honestly, if I were eaten by something in a game like in Gears of War 3, how that happened, or Gears of War 2 was it, where you were eaten by the monster and you go inside of it? It
The
was Gears of War
worms
2.
too. Yeah, the worm.
That like I know that Gears of War is not a scary thing,
But
but like
see-
I don't see myself being scared because I'm eaten by a monster.
It wasn't it, but like in Gears of War 2, you were with a group, you were with a squad.
I know, but
I'd be scared.
just to get the point across is like I'm not scared by being eaten by something. I guess.
I'm
Is
the
that-
biggest pussy here. I'd be scared when I got eaten, like as I'm getting eaten.
Right.
Then I wouldn't be scared once I'm inside because I'm eaten.
Yeah, because I'm like there are no monsters in here, right? I mean,
Or even if there is, I
Well,
mean,
you
it's
don't
like
know.
it's like, well, okay, I'm eaten and I'm alive. Clearly, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna keep playing.
That could add a different like element to. It's not like Vince where you're like, oh well, he might pop out of there. It could literally be. It could come straight out of a wall.
but if that happens, I'm just like I don't want to say that's not realistic because I mean it's a video game and being eaten by a monster and living is not realistic anyway. But if I see that, I'm just like I'm not really scared by that. I don't know. That's just me though.
Maybe you just have nerves of steel.
I'd probably
I don't think so,
I'd probably be
but-
scared, but I'm just saying I don't think that makes it inherently more scary. I don't think it really. You can't say you were eaten by a monster, so this game is scary now.
Yeah.
I think. Fuck it. You need to get through
I
both of the games.
I don't
first.
really think it's more of you're eaten by the monster. I think it's just the change in the environment.
So you guys think that was just a bad demo for the overall game?
I think it didn't
I thought
show.
it was a good demo.
But for the overall game, would you say it characterizes the overall game or
No, I
No.
wouldn't say it did.
Okay.
But then again, like
not? I
just
really
said,
hope it doesn't. But
Because I mean, that's their big thing was, they just wanted to be like, hey, you can if you want, you can play with a character with another person, and it's really not going to change the game all that much. It's just a little extra dialogue. It's not really going to be a huge factor in the game,
You know what I think?
but I still think it's going to have its scary moments and all that stuff.
I think fuck EA.
you know, like EA.
Well, EA is an evil corporation, but I still like Dead Space.
All right. EA or Activision?
Oh,
Tough
God.
decision.
If you have to pick one,
You're
I guess-
making me pick between.
I'll pick EA. Fuck Activision.
Yeah, I guess I have to go with EA.
Yeah.
And that's like the worst of two evils.
I hate Activision more than
okay.
and EA.
I think we're all a little bit biased
BioWare.
because we don't really like
Fuck
the direction
EA.
Call of Duty
No.
has gone in.
Yeah, fuck Activision.
I don't
Well,
like.
Activision. No,
I don't like the way
not
they're
that,
taking
but
Blizzard.
Activision. Yeah, I was about to say Activision screwed
Yeah,
over
they
Blizzard.
fucked over Blizzard too. Fuck that. Okay. Anyway, so let's move off of Dead Space and go to something else. I have
All
some
right.
other topics, but
All right. If we
I'll
want
let
to stay,
you
if
pick
we
one.
want to stay on E3 for a bit,
yeah.
then I have
I
have
a few more
actually-
things for
I have
E3
one
later.
that's kind of E3 related, and then one that's just gaming related.
Okay.
The E3 related one is how do you feel about the whole shift in? I'm trying to the whole shift in trying to appeal much more to the families. Like a lot of hardcore gamers are
Like
really angry
like the tablet
because there's
stuff.
a lot of stuff like the Kinect. They're really pushing the Kinect and the PlayStation Move and a lot of the Wii U stuff. People are just mad when the Wii first came out because they felt like it was just a shift to like all the hardcore gamers were mad because they're like, where's our games like we grew up with playing? Like you're going away from this and we don't want that. How do you feel about that whole shift?
Well, I don't
Do
see
you
it.
think it's like good for the industry, bad for the
Well,
industry?
they're trying to make it more of a entertainment system, well, at least with Xbox, and not less of a video game system, but
Aren't those
the-
the same thing kind of?
no, entertainment
would be like movies.
would be
and
just
social-
more than just video games.
social.
It's not just a console. But I mean, like with the Wii U, they're kind of doing that. But I mean, it's not. They're not completely just focusing on family stuff. Like with the Wii U, I mean, they're big. One of the other than like they announced Pikmin 3 and all that stuff. But like,
Can you name
Zombie
a game?
U?
That's like Plants vs Zombies. Is
No,
Scary
I wouldn't
thing.
say that.
I would almost
I
compare that.
don't think you could justify that being a good.
I'm
thing.
not saying it's. I'm not saying that they're.
Are you trying to say that they're still trying to appeal to? A
I'm
more
saying
mature
they're not
audience?
completely cutting out the mature
Okay.
audience. Is what I'm
But
saying.
do you feel like what? Okay, so if there's like 2 or 3 games that appeal to a hardcore audience, and then everything else is appealing to the family, do you feel like that's enough that the hardcore gamers should be satisfied?
Well, no, I mean, I still had that complaint whenever the Wii, like you said, the Wii first came out. It was more of a, but I mean, Nintendo's been going that way since the end of GameCube, basically. So
But it seems like everyone's kind of we're not there yet with the other consoles, but it seems like everyone's kind of shifting towards that kind of thing.
I think that definitely reflects at the beginning. Whenever the three consoles came out, Wii was beating everybody. It's because you buy your kids a Wii and that's it. Like a lot of people just bought into that because there's such a larger crowd of children that want to play a game versus trying to appeal to hardcore gamers. So
It also
everybody's
helped,
trying to take
I
that
think
shit.
even
it
a
was
novel.
it also helped that they were cheaper than all the other consoles at the
They
time when
weren't
they
even
first came out.
They weren't even like it's still hundreds of dollars. $200, I think it was. Is that correct?
$250 when they first came out. Xboxes were $400, and PlayStations were $600.
Well, even after they reduced the price a little bit, I think that Wii's were still winning because they just appeal to kids more, and
Well,
their
they
parents
appeal
are gonna
just
buy that.
like families and like I know people they use them in like retirement homes stuff like that to get elderly people
You have to
more
keep in
active.
mind though, at first a lot of it was also just the novelty. Like people were like it was really new at the time.
It's a
Yeah.
sensor thing.
So I mean, like a lot of people just got it. Like we got ours, but then like my family just got like, no one decided to play it anymore. The only person who plays it now is me when I play Super Smash Bros.
Right.
Yeah.
I think as far as how this is taking gaming, I think it's taking it in a terrible direction because how it is right now, people don't take gaming seriously. A lot of like the general public are just like, oh, that's just kids games,
You know,
grow up. And this is just giving them, more of a reason to think that. I don't think that everything should go to, like competitive gaming or, apply to hardcore gamers, but I think that we need to have more of a balance, I would say. We're shifting back to like a bunch of kids stuff and like, hey, let's get the whole family involved, which is okay, but I think that we need to have a lot of people dedicated, a lot of companies dedicated to, the hardcore gamer. Because even if we look at like Call of Duty, it's so much, I don't know. It's shifting a lot to, try to appeal to everybody and try to just sell a lot. And
It's very mediocre.
uh,
In my
like
opinion.
I'd be fine if the balance was like I felt like if I felt like the balance was 50-50, like they were like, okay, we got all this stuff for the family, but don't worry, we have just about the same amount of stuff for you guys too. Then that'd be fine. Like I mean, like I'd understand that. Like okay, you got your business side, you're appealing to families,
Yeah.
bringing in young gamers who may end up becoming part of that other 50% one day.
Right.
That's fine. But right now it feels like it's more like 70-30, 60-40.
yeah,
Like
and it's just shifting more in the
and
family direction.
that's why I'm like it's not even like it's there yet, especially on like the PlayStation and the Xbox, but it's like headed that way.
And even I think that if a big publisher like EA or Activision, if they took this initiative to say, here we're going to devote half of our developers and try to push them to go for the family oriented stuff and half of them to go for the hardcore gamers, they would get for one a lot more respect from a lot more people, and for two they'd appeal to everybody. They'd win all sides of it. But I don't know, you can't really just have a big company do that. They're just going to go for money anyway. So.
I think that they're just they're just trying to squeeze as much as they can out of these consoles until the next generation comes out.
So it seems like Aaron, Adam, and I are more of the console gamer, and Bogan's more of a PC gamer.
PC gaming master race.
Okay, well, whatever. I don't want to get into the debate between consoles and PC. I want to ask you if you think that so console gaming, it seems like they're trying to make the Xbox 360 or the PS3 like an entertainment system. It's everything. It's music. It's Kinect. It's the family thing. It's not just the gaming kid wanting to play whenever school's not in session. Do you think that PC gaming is still going with that sort of competitive hardcore gamer route, maybe even more so than before, or do you think that it's shifting half and half, or what?
Well, if you look at like the PC exclusives, then I would say yeah, it's kind of trending towards the more. Well, then there's also a lot of indie stuff. I mean, I don't know if you can really count the indie stuff because
Not really.
there's so many indie games on the PC.
Because you could say like Xbox Live Marketplace, that's sort of like indie stuff, and that
Yeah.
I wouldn't really count that. So
Yeah,
just
but, I
talking
mean,
about like
Okay,
actual
and like
games.
as far as like huge releases, I would say in general yes, but you also have to look what kind of games are they going to make money on that they're going to release PC exclusive, and that's pretty much like RTS games and MMO games.
Right.
They're really not going to release a PC exclusive that's not
First-person
multi-console for anything else.
Yeah.
Even like even like their biggest first-person shooter exclusive Well, the biggest not indie one. There's a bunch that are really popular that are like free, like Ava and
Yeah.
Sudden Attack 2. But Counter Strike, the next Counter Strike, going to also be released on the Xbox 360. Now, the pro community is obviously going to stay on the PC. I mean, just in all honesty, we all know it's going to happen. They're all
Right.
going to stick on the PC. There's no way. I mean, I'm not saying the Xbox people won't be competitive. Just
Okay, why do you think they're doing that? Do you think it's to make more money, or what do you think? Why are they releasing the console now? Is it to just allow more people to play it? Are they maybe going for like a more, changing the gameplay maybe a little bit so that it's friendly to more people, or what do you think?
from what I understand, it's a little bit more forgiving than Source, and Source is more forgiving than 1.6. But on a relativity scale, it'd be like playing something like Modern Warfare and Halo are not comparable. Like
Right.
there's no auto aim. There's nothing like every console shooter, whether or not it tells you, has auto aim because you can't move the joystick fast enough to
Right.
keep up.
And I don't really have a problem with aim assist.
Yeah, but I mean, like it's a lot more. You die very quickly. You just die in instant headshots. You can get shot through walls. I mean, like there's a lot of it. It has a very very high like getting into it skill cap.
Okay.
So I would say it's definitely much more hardcore than the current console offerings.
Okay.
Why they're going to the console, the only thing I can really assume is they just want to make more money on it, but
Okay.
maybe they also want to open up an audience and try to convert some people. But
I think that they might even see we might see something, maybe not MLG necessarily, but more competitive stuff, like maybe like Game Battle or something you could have with Xbox. It's not gonna like take over, and PC's not gonna be really like the main stage for Counter Strike anymore. I just think it'll be good for adding.
I think if you're like I think it will go to MLG and it will be on the PC when it's played at MLG. But
I don't think MLG's ever gonna get rid of Halo though, so I think that's gonna be their main first-person shooter.
it's not even their most popular game right now.
I know, but it's still their main first-person shooter regardless.
I think they may add it. I don't know.
All
It'll
right.
be at IEM for sure. How about that? IEM for sure and DreamHack for sure.
Okay, I'll take that. All right, I want to get all the gaming stuff out of the way first. Do you guys have any more gaming stuff?
I do have a gaming thing. Bit controversial.
Okay.
Alright. So this is just kind of like a thought thing. A lot of people talk about a lot of the old games and how they're really good. Do you think that necessarily all of those old games are actually really good games by today's standards? Or is it just nostalgia? And then the spin-off question from this, well, I guess we'll talk about that first and I'll
Okay.
do the spin-off question. Like, do you think like some of the games you get really nostalgic about are actually legitimately good games even by today's standards?
I'm gonna say like 80% is nostalgia, and the other 20% is they're good games. They could make that same game and just make it a little bit better right now, but they just went in a direction that the person didn't want. So I'm still just gonna say mostly nostalgia.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
Because like somebody say, like Pong was a great game. It's not like
Well,
you're gonna.
hold on, can I update it then with the like we're not like
I know you're not just talking about like the first games that
Like,
were ever made.
in not graphics and stuff like
No,
that.
right. But I'm gonna say like, Halo's gameplay versus Halo 3 or Halo Reach's gameplay. Just comparing that one series. Like a lot of people might say,
I
Halo
prefer-
was
I prefer Halo 1 over
Yeah.
Halo 3 and Reach.
okay. Well, I'm gonna say that even I liked Halo 2 the most, but I'm
I
gonna
like Halo
say
2 the most,
Halo
so-
2. Yeah.
I don't know if that probably is nostalgic. Cause I mean I haven't played Halo 2 in forever, so I really just think it's nostalgic.
I honestly actually do think Halo 2 did have the best gameplay out of them. It was a little faster. It was faster paced. It was the fastest pace,
Definitely.
period, out of all of them. And I've said before, like a lot of people hate on the BXR and the double shot and stuff, but it allowed you to pull these like really clutch moments whenever you're like no shields and you just BXR someone as they come around the corner and then pull off a really clutch shot. It allowed for a lot more opportunities for player skill to shine than in like Halo 3 or Reach, where really it's just did they miss you while you were strafing?
Yeah, I see what you mean. But also, I mean, you might just think back to the situation, not necessarily the game, because like back in the original Combat Evolved, for still talking about Halo, like
That
there
was-
wasn't like huge MLG scene or something. There wasn't like huge competitive
Yeah.
stuff for it. So
Well,
like
that was before this big esports scene in general.
Right. So I think if we were to go back to Halo now and like everybody in the competitive scene play, I think we might, find exploited things that might turn it into like a tier 4 game or something.
Well, the big exploited thing would be that you can only use a pistol
Yeah.
and a rocket launcher, and sometimes a sniper, depends on the map.
Right.
But
So-
that's literally it. You
Right.
can't use any other weapon.
Everything to say?
Not really.
Do you think all of the old
Do you
games
think
are?
it's nostalgia, or do you
Well, I never really played Halo 1.
We're not about
We're
not
not
just
talking
any
about
old game.
like?
I know, but back on that Halo series, though, it was like, I don't know, most of the games from, I don't know, earlier in my youth, I guess you could say, were mostly single-player games, no multiplayer games. So, I mean, I would
That is
consider those great games. Yeah, it's probably nostalgia, but
Okay, so you do admit that a lot of it was probably nostalgia.
So would you rather right now play? I don't know. Go back and play Dead Space 2, or would you rather go back and play one of the games you played as a child? If it was just available on your Xbox, same graphics though. Like
if it was available,
because
on
it's
my
it's
Xbox,
annoying to like hook up a Nintendo 64 or something.
yeah, I'd play one of the older games.
And does that a lot though.
Yeah, I think Jared's slightly different than us, maybe.
I do. I think
I mean, I downloaded Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie on my Xbox. I
That's
played
true.
those.
I think one thing is like I massively prefer playing Fire Red and Leaf Green, the Pokemon remakes, over the original ones because they actually had like a lot of things that are just like a pain in the ass.
Okay.
Like
Well, you also like playing it on your emulator versus on a real.
I know, but I'm just saying like in general, that's an example of how like
No, I see what you mean.
those were great, and it's a bit of nostalgia because like I massively prefer playing it on the newer ones.
Why do you like playing those though? Is it because like they're only
I just
for
think-
the most part original?
I just think they're
150,
like. Well, the original 150 probably is a nostalgia thing. The reason I play those over the newer ones is probably a nostalgia thing.
And
But
I do it because I hate all the new Pokemon.
Yeah, I hate all the new Pokemon.
well, I mean, the reason I say I hate all the new Pokemon is probably just because I grew up with those ones. So if I grew up with the
Yeah.
other ones, I'd like them.
There are just so many now that it dilutes the effect, I guess. But anyway, off of Pokemon. Adam, do you have anything to say about this?
Not about this, no.
Okay. Adam,
Damn,
start us
what
with
was-
the next topic.
Come on, I had a spin-off, and
Okay,
I forgot
spin-off
it.
question.
God, what was the spin-off
Well,
question
while
now?
he's thinking
Five.
of the spin-off question,
5 seconds.
Hold on, it's on the other
5,
side.
4,
Oh,
3,
oh, okay.
2.
Don't count that.
Alright.
Yeah, that is annoying.
Well, then
Sound
say your
effects.
shit.
Well, I had to flip it over and read it.
Okay. go.
Okay. Do you think qualifying a game as like we're not even talking like nostalgia here, just a game you realize that you liked back in the day, but it's just bad now, just like looking back on it. But do you think it really matters if you say it's good for its time? Does that really like mean anything to you? Like
Did you,
if you're trying to make a list of like your favorite games of all
like top
time,
games? Okay.
and you're like you really liked this game when you were younger, but now you don't think it's that good. Do you think you should still include it on the list, like being good for its time?
Yeah, I would say so. If you were trying to like write for like a magazine or something, I don't know. I think that would be different. But if you're just thinking for yourself, I would probably make that list based on where I had the most fun. I probably had the most fun playing Halo 2. But if I were to go back and play it right now, I don't think it'd be the most fun thing I ever did right now. But back in the past, I love to do that. So
Yeah.
I would just rank my list based on how much fun I had, not
What I think
based on
now.
current standards.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone different on the matter?
Nope.
Okay, that's what I was too. I was just curious if anyone would be different.
All right, Adam, we're talking about more E3 stuff.
More E3 stuff. I was pretty excited when Ubisoft announced Watch Dogs because it was something well, not completely unique, but it wasn't a continuation of a series, and
What is Watch
it was
Dogs?
it was
Did you not? Have you not seen it?
I haven't.
it's an open world game. It's kind of like, I'm not saying it's a mix of stuff, but it's open world like Grand Theft Auto. The game, you get to control the infrastructure, like you can jam people's cell phones, you can mess with traffic lights, you can hack into stuff. And you're just a guy that's in control of everything, and it's open world like Grand Theft Auto, like I said, and I'm not sure what the goal of this game is. I'm assuming the storyline's probably some real long, complicated, drawn out thing, but I mean, from the demo that they showed at E3, it looked pretty cool.
Aaron, what were you gonna say?
Okay, from the demo, in the demo there was two guys talking, and they were talking about a target. So What I assumed was that your guy was a assassin of some sort, I guess, and he like Adam just said, like you can control like infrastructures like bridges, you can raise and lower them, you can hack into people's cell phone, you can jam people, you can cause traffic lights that cause wrecks, like you can do all this stuff to plan out to kill a target.
Mhm.
Well,
Okay.
and it's open world like GTA. That's the reason why I said like because it plays like Assassin's Creed, except basically you have guns instead of like
Do you scale
Hidden.
buildings?
No.
no, not that I.
Because that's what epitomizes Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
like,
gonna say, can't you just if you're just basing the fact that he's assassin into making it Assassin's Creed,
No.
can't you just call Assassin's Creed a copy of?
And
Thousands
I
of other
don't.
games.
He's not an assassin.
Well,
Okay,
we don't
anyway.
know.
From what
Yeah.
I picked up from the thing, it doesn't seem
like I
like.
said, they were talking about a target. That's
Can I add
why I
Deus Ex
assumed.
to that list of
But
games
I
it would be
mean-
mixed with?
The way I said that is because the way you like moved around, and the way like you could be incognito, and
Okay.
you walk
I can see
around
that.
and you hold like it was like the multiple like walk, run, sprint, go into cover.
Yeah, okay. I see what you mean.
Um,
That seems like a combination of a lot of games that have come out recently that I just don't care about really. Like, I'm thinking of like Fracture, combination of Fracture and like Crackdown and like Infamous. All those games, they're sort of like. If I feel like what you guys have just described to me is just like those games.
um,
I don't know.
well, the really cool
I'll
thing,
have to see the
the
trailer.
thing that I thought was the really cool thing about it was how immersive the world is.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of detail in the world. Like, astounding amount for being an open world game.
Mhm.
Things like if you're scanning around on people's cell phone, it's not like it's just like this person's name. Like, it has unique information about all of them.
like each
like, it talks-
individual person.
That's cool.
Like, it talks about like one girl's like her problem with her marriage, and she has a lawsuit in court for like her divorce. Another guy, how he's diagnosed with HIV, and then various other things.
HIVology.
Like it has personal. It has like it's not like just like small little tidbit. Like it's like deep information about all
Yeah.
of them. They have things like if you just walk around and listen to. I've heard if you just walk around and listen to people, then you can just overhear stories and. They tell stories to each other and they're not all rehashed. There's like a lot of dialogue in the game, and there's things like there's a moment they talked about you stop the traffic light and there's a car crash. He's walking over in cover and the man's just like pleading with his wife because she like died in the car crash. He's like trying to wake her up and stuff.
Mhm.
Like there's just a lot of like minor details that make the world feel much more immersive.
That sounds really cool, but I hope that if they are doing that they take it to the whole world. I mean, this is just like a demo, right?
Yeah.
So that that might get lost. Like with I'm just thinking of Borderlands, where it was supposed to be you could like create over like hundreds or like 1,000 or thousands of different weapons, combining all the stuff, and then whenever they released it,
It wasn't that you could create. It was they were randomly generated.
that's how it was in the actual game. But in the
Yeah,
magazine
when it first
before
came out, they were talking about how you could like
you could
custom
add
add attachments and create stuff.
you can create ammo and weapons and shit, and that sounded
And they
cool.
took that out.
I'm not really into that, but that sounded cool. And then whenever they did, it's just like
They're like, oh,
randomly
we have
generated stuff. It's like
like
okay,
it
that's
could
kinda lame.
come up with literally millions of different things.
So I mean, I
That could
hope
just
they
be
keep that immersive
stat-wise.
stuff, and I hope it it comes out how it is. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd
just
say
feel like
watch
it's gonna
the
get lost.
watch the trailer.
Yeah, if you saw the
Yeah,
trailer, you
I'll
would.
definitely watch it.
It definitely has a very Grand Theft Auto feel to it. I mean, for at least for the environment wise.
Question: does anyone else feel like the Xbox is losing in the console war? Not just based on games. We're not talking about how many people play it or their online service. Just in the quality of the games compared to the PS3.
No.
Well, what exclusives does the Xbox have that the PS3 doesn't?
Gears, Halo.
And
And
that's it. Those
Okay,
are like
what
those big
does
ones.
the PS3 have? They have Uncharted.
They have the Uncharted series. They have
Which-
the Metal Gear series.
no, they don't.
Yeah, they. Oh,
They not-
Metal
Metal
Gear's
Gear
not
series.
anymore.
No.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Metal Gear's.
I was
no.
just used to it being growing
Yeah.
up with it
And
only
Final
on.
Fantasy's no longer.
Metal Gear
so-
had a game on Nintendo on the GameCube.
Yeah, it
That
was Liquid
weird.
Snakes. That was their first branch off.
Yeah, and like I said,
Okay.
Final Fantasy's no longer Sony.
The Last of Us, which was the other big.
Yeah, The
people were
Last
really
of Us
excited.
looked cool. Heavy Rain looked cool too. I would want
Yeah.
both of those.
Basically, the big thing I'm saying is like Sony actually like has exclusives for the PS3. God of War series.
Right.
They're getting more. Like Xbox has like Halo and Gears.
Just because it's
And
not
that's pretty much
exclusive
it.
does not mean the quality.
Well,
of
I'm
the
saying you
games
can
are
play
going down.
you can play both.
But if I could choose between playing on the Xbox or playing on the PS3, I don't own a PS3, so I'm biased. But from what I've heard, I'd much rather play on the Xbox. Even I don't care if it's exclusive games or not.
Well, that's why I said just speaking on the quality of the games, because the point I was trying to make was they're sharing pretty much most of them are on both consoles.
So are you just asking which one has better exclusive games?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Like because you can't be like, oh well, I'd rather play Call of Duty on the Xbox, so that doesn't matter. You like playing on the Xbox, other people like playing it on the PS3.
See, the thing is about a lot of the exclusive games and series on PlayStation and Sony, I've played them. I don't like them. So it doesn't really bother me.
I don't think games being or series being exclusive to a certain system makes it higher quality of games or anything else.
Higher
Makes
quality
it,
system.
It just makes it exclusive. It doesn't mean that their quality of games are going up or going down or anything.
Okay, just looking at your question, I would say that PS3 might be winning in that aspect.
Yeah.
But if I were to decide between playing Gears and Halo versus Uncharted 3 and Heavy Rain and all that stuff, I'd rather play Gears and Halo. But then again, I am a first-person shooter kind of guy. Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, I would say that they do have more exclusives on the PS3, but
I just feel like the Xbox is kind of falling off, and what they have to offer in exclusives, and the PS3 just seems to be gaining more.
Right, but that's the only... If you think about it, there's a reason for that, because the PS3, the only way it can stay afloat is if you can't get it on the Xbox as well.
Yeah, that's
because they kind of fuck themselves. So.
With what?
For one, whenever they first launched.
Yeah, the price tag when they first launched
was ridiculously
the fact that
high.
For the first year, they had about like 5 major titles and about 100 games. They were not producing games
at all.
At all.
And then systems got hacked.
Yeah, and then kind of recently with the credit card hack, that kind of it didn't I'm sure it didn't make a bunch of people quit PS3, but that's just another thing. Like they're
it's
not
sort
as
of
secure.
like credibility loss.
From what I've heard, what you have to do just to play a game on the PS3, you have to like install it to your PS3 and you have to download all the patches, and it can literally take like 30 minutes to play one game for the first time. After that, it might be better. But
I'm just thinking of PC.
Yeah, it's like that's
like
normal.
If I wanted to
but
do this shit,
no, it's like worse.
Oh, it's okay. Well,
depending on the game.
That's just what I've heard. You have to like install all of them, so I feel like that would get annoying, and then you have to do all the
rage
patches.
quit guy. Took him 45 minutes just to
get
to the title menu.
Oh, that is a really good game series, though.
Yeah,
I forgot the name of it, but the one with like Resistance.
Resistance
Was a really good game series. I played through him at my cousin's house.
His rage quit. It took him 45 minutes just to get to the title screen of the game, and then he had to do the patches for the game.
Yeah.
So it in total it was taking him over an hour just to play the game.
But that's the problem with like that one game.
That happens with a lot of games on the PS3 because you have to install all of them. You have to download all of them.
Well, I was just trying to get at the point that it seems like Xbox is like not really bothering to go for anything like that, and PS3 is actively trying to get exclusives and bring in those quality games that aren't on the Xbox.
Yeah, I mean I can see that, but I mean overall I'd say in the console wars I would
say Xbox is winning the console war, but I'd say PS3 overall is the better quality of games in total. Just because they have way too many good exclusives.
I wouldn't think so.
Xbox did have exclusive, at least for the first Mass Effect game. It wasn't on anything but the 360.
Right. I wouldn't think so. I think Xbox still has better quality games.
I also think
no. You can't count anything that's not exclusive.
No. I even.
But whenever you're playing the game,
that's why I said just pure. I said Xbox is winning the console war, but I think PS3 overall is the better quality of games.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, if you're just basing it off exclusivity, then all right. Moving on.
I do think the Xbox's interface is better though. I will definitely give it that.
And they did not announce any new consoles except for the Wii U, which is
I think that they're gonna do that. I mean, because
E3's already
the
over,
speculation we've heard. Yeah, it's over. The speculation we've heard is that it's not even coming out till at the end of 2013.
Yeah.
So
they'll probably announce it.
They'll announce it either next E3 or in between then, or we'll figure out something. I wasn't really expecting that much of this E3 as far as next gen consoles go. But
do you think next year's E3 will be a lot better with all the announcements for the first major titles for the next gen consoles? Because that's where I assume they're going to be announced. So maybe
Yeah, if that is
maybe
the
this
case,
year
it's gonna be a
everyone's
lot more
saving
exciting.
all. Maybe this year everyone's saving all their stuff because they're working on the next gen stuff. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's.
I really
possible.
hope so because this E3 was a big disappointment from what I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not even like. I don't really buy console games really that much anymore. So it's really a big disappointment for me.
Are you really disappointed they aren't having BlizzCon? Or do you
What?
not even care about that?
They're not having BlizzCon this year?
No, that's a mess up.
So Activision really is screwing up Blizzard.
I don't know if they have.
As
it.
long as I give my heart in the
Roll.
swarm and they don't fuck it up.
Okay. Do we want to stick on gaming or are we done? I have one more gaming thing, but I want to put it at the end.
Alright, well, you go ahead
Okay,
and
we'll put it at
switch
the
top.
end then.
There's one thing I want to talk about really quickly though. I'm really excited for Halo 4 because of the gun sounds. I know that sounds really weird, and I've told you guys that before,
Okay.
but I'll play a game for the sounds almost. It adds a lot.
That's
You
why he
should
played
play-
Rock Band for
Should
so
play
long.
Limbo.
I didn't play Rock Band.
Just the ambient environment noise.
I don't know.
Or no, you should play Bastion. They have the narrator. The narrator's awesome. He narrates everything you do. It's quite good. And good music too.
I think you should play Dante's Inferno. You would like it.
You guys
Anywho.
tell me too many games at one time. I don't know. I'm really excited for the sound.
Alright. So, next
And by the way, if you guys didn't know, you could have gotten all the games that are available on the Xbox for the Xbox and the PC if you got the Humble Bundle. But I think it's over now. Seeing this.
I didn't really care. My computer's shit anyway.
Well, you could. As I was saying, you could get some of them on the Xbox too. I can get Bastion on the Xbox, and Bastion's an
You could probably get
amazing
Limbo,
game.
too.
What?
Probably get Limbo too.
Yeah, you can get Limbo and Bastion, and I think those are the only two.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, that's a pretty good deal considering.
Right.
Oh, you could download Psychonauts too, I think.
Anyway, does anybody have any more gaming topics?
What's going on your last topic?
Okay. Sort of a combination sort of thing. So, it seems like recently what's happened is playing new games for me, or even playing games that I have right now, I really just don't have any motivation for it. I don't know if you guys have run into this at all. And I
Yes.
guess my question is sort of like, have you guys run into this at all?
Yes.
Okay. The reason that I haven't been playing, and the reason I've run into this problem is because it seems like my drive for doing things is in order to get a result. And it seems like the only result that I would be able to get from playing game is either if I can get the achievements in the Xbox, or if I can record something for this channel that I have, or if I can become competitive in it. If I don't see any one of those things being a possibility, and even if one of those is a possibility, sometimes I still don't do it. Then I just won't care to play. So I don't know if you guys have run into that at all, or if you guys still just enjoy playing the game for the.
Would you say you have that issue going back to like Dead Space? Because I mean, you don't really. I know you've been doing the achievement hunting
Mhm.
for the game, but I mean, you said you legitimately like with I don't know with BioShock, you legitimately liked playing through BioShock because you wanted to get through the end, you wanted to see the story, all that
Yeah,
unfold.
but I'm gonna say BioShock is almost. I think it's exclusive in that fact for me because like Halo Reach, whenever I played it, I never cared about anything that was happening. I just did it for the achievements. Whenever I play Call of Duty, I don't really care what's happening. Even in Modern Warfare 3, even in Modern Warfare 2, I didn't care. I just played it to get the achievements for the most part and to say I beat men.
Well, it's just I get they really none of those stories that they never did anything for you. I guess like BioShock, correct?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just feel like in the past, what it used to be is I'd rent a game or something or get a new game and be really excited. And now I could not care less. I don't know have you guys
Yeah.
run into that at all?
No, I run into the same thing, except like pretty much since I'm not doing a channel or the achievement thing, the only reasons I play game are one, if there's some kind of competitive nature in it, like play StarCraft a lot, play Ava a lot, play things like that a lot. Two, if I'm going for like a speed run or like some kind of goal,
Yeah.
like I just really want to accomplish something,
Yeah.
or three, like there's occasionally that very special exception of just an exceptionally good game.
Like BioShock for me.
Yeah, BioShock and Bastion have been two for me recently, where I just like they're just really good games.
Right.
So I just played through them. I think with Bastion it also helped that it was short, so it only took like three hours to beat. But I'm going back and I'm playing through it again now to try different things. But I haven't been playing it as much now. Generally speaking, though, I have Steam syndrome where I have like literally about 19 games that I own that I've yet to beat or even like really get into. But
It has to do with time, but it also for you would probably have to do with motivation too.
yeah, it's like motivation, but it's also time. Time, like I think time's a big part of it because I don't, if I only have like 2 hours to play a game and then we're gonna play StarCraft together, then we're gonna play StarCraft together and that's all I'm doing
Yeah.
for that night. So
Right.
and I'm not saying like I don't enjoy playing StarCraft because I do enjoy playing StarCraft more than those games. It's just that I end up like since I prioritize that, then I'd never end up playing the other stuff.
I don't know. I guess it's almost like I don't know, an illness for me maybe at the moment because even whenever we're playing StarCraft, like I legitimately enjoy it, but whenever I just see like we lose or like there's nothing I could do and I just feel absolutely helpless and I'm not really getting any better. I don't know. Sometimes I just think, why am I even playing this game? I still play it because I enjoy it, but I don't know. With that in the back of my mind, it makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, what about you guys?
With me, I haven't had that problem with like single player games. Like if I can get into the story, like with Mass Effect, when 3 came out, I went back and played the 2 previous games all the way through, just so I'd have every single little thing ready for 3. And then I was like, all right, I got the motivation. I'm gonna beat this series, and I get through it.
Do you think that's a special exception for you, like Bioshock and Bastion?
Is Mass Effect a special exception?
I wouldn't say it's a special exception. I mean, it's a big one just because it has its own little unique, like it carries over to the next game, yada yada. But I mean, now even like when Skyrim first came out, I'm like, my goal is to do every little thing in this game because I want to see everything.
Did you?
Not yet, no, because there's so much crap to do in that game.
Have you beaten it?
Yes, I've beaten the main storyline to it.
Yeah, that's
Because something that you've told me kind of recently, Adam, is that you haven't finished a lot of games. Like recently, you finished Dead Space 2, but you've had that game for a while, and like you haven't finished Halo Reach, and that's been out for a long time.
That's because I hate the Halo games.
Okay, well I didn't know if like
I mean,
maybe you were running.
I
into
like
the
the
same situation.
storyline.
I have a better question. Do you feel like maybe you only play the games that would be kind of like your special exception because you maybe just aren't as interested in other games anymore? Like you don't really you haven't beat Halo Reach because you're not really interested in Halo Reach.
I'm not interested in Halo Reach because it's a prequel. I mean,
Okay.
it's
But
that was my big thing.
What I'm
with
saying
Reach.
is like if a game isn't like exceptionally good to you, do you just not want to waste your time playing it?
Do you ever get that feeling?
I could, yeah, for some games like
Like what was the games you've been playing recently?
well, Dead Space 2. I recently got back into Grand Theft Auto 4, which I got pretty close to beating that when we first had it, but then
You didn't. Beat
I
it?
got stuck somewhere and my data got erased, and I just said fuck it because I got so far in.
Those are two like really good games. So to me, it sounds like you just kind of only play the exceptionally good games.
It's also like we don't really have the money to go out and buy new.
Well,
games,
yeah,
that's
that's
true.
true.
But even just speaking of the games that I have right now, like I don't have the motivation. What about you, Aaron? You haven't said anything about this.
I would have to say I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, I was gonna say Adam's not Aaron. Aaron will go back and be like, I want to play Army of Two, which is like I mean it's a good game. It's not
Out of my
amazing.
like 40, 50 some games, I've beaten every single one of them except for 3.
Can I ask what your motivation for playing the game is?
Have
Do you have
fun.
any idea?
Have
Okay,
fun,
just
and
have
I'll
fun.
challenge myself throughout. Say I decided to go play Bioshock 1 again. I'll challenge myself to only use like certain plasmids or only use certain weapons. I'll set my own little challenges. They don't necessarily won't be achievements, but just
Right.
stuff to make the game fun for me.
That's like someone I know who went through, like you said,
Like
is like I'm gonna kill everything with the wrench, and that's
the
all
way
I'm
I
using.
look at it is that before the Xbox 360 came out, before there were achievements, we played games to have fun. We played games because we were interested in them. So I still have that, I guess you could say, view of it, whether I get achievements or not. I think getting achievements is great, they're fun, but I mean I will play a game to have fun. I will
Okay.
play through games, make challenges, have fun with it.
And I'm thinking back to before there were achievements, and I think that I was the exact same way that I am now. I played Halo 2 all the time multiplayer. so I could get the level 50 because you know how they had the level
Mhm.
system for each playlist or whatever. I was trying to get to level 50 in like Team Slayer or something, and then I played Time Splitters Future Perfect because they had a percentage complete thing where like you had to beat all of the missions on solo and split screen, and you had to do all these challenges. They had little challenges that you could do, and I did all those just to get 100%. So like, I guess I've never changed, and that I don't.
I think it used to be like that, and then I got multiplayer, and that
Yeah.
changed everything.
I
Like,
think multiplayer changed.
Once
a lot,
I had multiplayer, entirely changed. Because like my first multiplayer game was Halo 1 PC, and I played that for like 4 years. I played almost only Halo PC.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally I'd go back and play other games, but for the most part, I just played Halo PC. That's why I got really good.
That's another reason I have nostalgia for Halo 2 is because they have like the leveling system. I don't know if they had that in Halo PC or anything.
No, Halo PC was purely server. If you want to do anything competitive, it was all on like various websites. Like
Okay.
at the time, it was Clan Wars.
Yeah.
Clan Wars was the game battles of the time. I was real big on Clan Wars.
Okay.
All right, I know it's off topic. Did they bring up Bioshock Infinite at
No,
E3?
they did not. I actually
Not
told
even
that.
mentioned
I
it.
told that to. Did I tell that both of you? No, I told that to Aaron.
So no one even mentioned it.
Yeah, it was not talked about at all. I was really
What's the
disappointed by
company
that.
that makes Bioshock?
2K, I believe.
Did they talk about anything?
No.
2K wasn't even there.
No, I think they were probably there, but I don't.
They didn't.
Did you hear
announce
what
it.
THQ did?
What?
They they got rid of one of their companies, like one of their branches during E3. Like everyone thinks they're like they did it the first day of E3, so everyone thought they were doing it just so that way it'd be covered up by all the big announcements and no one would think about how they closed off this branch.
That probably worked.
It kind of did, but I mean,
Plus, nobody knows. Nobody
there's a
really
big-
cares about THQ
unlike
anymore.
a lot of the big websites like 4chan/V, Reddit, Kotaku, a lot of game trailers, a lot of those places made a really big deal about it because they went behind people's back like that.
I still can't believe they didn't say anything about Bucket.
I know. I was
didn't
really.
even think it. I even had Bioshock in my mind. I guess it's just I've heard. some
Did you
stuff
hear how
about
far it
it.
got pushed back?
No.
They like announced it was gonna be October, and then like a month later they announced it was gonna be like next February. They pushed it back that far in a month.
I'd rather them do that than.
I know, but it's like why'd they even announce the October date if
just to get people excited. I bet. I don't know.
Yes.
Then you lose it whenever you announce it.
yeah.
You're just like,
hey guys,
fuck this.
hey guys, it's gonna be like 5 months later now.
Anybody else have gaming stuff?
Gaming stuff, and it's not ready to go balls deep into this podcast.
Not really.
All right, switching topics. No more gaming stuff.
No more gaming stuff.
Okay. So here's my first one, and it's something that's really, I guess, fundamental in my thinking. Is that whenever you guys apply for a job, do you ever feel like it's not even useful to apply unless you know somebody there? So like, every summer since college, which I guess is only 2 summers, so that isn't that many, but I apply to a bunch of places, right? And I get calls back from none of them. Or last year it was 1, this year it's none. And I put in, I think, like 20, and I think you've done something similar too, right? Bo?
I was gonna say my story. I put in 30 and had to wait 3 months before I got a call back. And I got a call back from the one where my parents personally knew the owner of the store very well.
And I think that that's something really terrible about the job situation we're in. And I'm not even talking about the job market, whether it's good or bad or anything. That's how it seems like it's always been. If you know somebody that works there, you're going to get the job. Otherwise, just if they have nobody else that they know that wants that job, then they'll call whoever's applied. And I don't know. I think that that's really shitty that they look at what friendships you have more so than what your ability is.
Yeah, am I the only one who gets really pissed off that you see all these just these really dumb, especially in the teenagers, especially younger teenagers, 16, 17, that they get these jobs everywhere that you're not getting, and they're just awful. They're lazy.
Yeah.
They're not motivated.
Yeah,
And they're getting these jobs, but then I'm not getting them.
And they're not getting fired either.
Yeah.
It just makes me so mad because a good example was one time I went into I think it was Hot Topic or something in the mall, and there was a person there, and it was one of their first days there. It wasn't their absolute first day, but it was one of them. And the manager came up to them and was setting up their register or whatever, and was like, "Oh, by the way, there's a shift that you could take tomorrow if you wanted to." And immediately the girl's like, "No, I don't want it."
Well, I kind of do the same thing, but that's because I don't want to work more than I work currently.
But it's like if you just got a job and you can immediately just say no, I don't want to do anything. Like it's just
That looks
it,
bad.
it makes me I don't know.
So it
so
should
mad
look bad.
that people get these jobs and they're just gonna be so lazy about it. Well, I mean, just a few days ago, it was probably like a few weeks ago at this point, Bogan, but they called you and asked you to come in early. You remember that? So I mean, I feel like that girl would have said no, I'm busy, whenever really she's just sitting at home doing nothing.
Yeah, sometimes even if I'm sitting at home, I'll just say no, just because I'm tired. Like those that'll work me like, I had a 6 straight 7 hour shifts recently, and they tried to call me into work 2 hours early and work a 9 hour shift on the last one. And
That's
no.
a different isolated situation.
Okay.
But like, I don't know. I feel like if I had those jobs, then I would want to take all the hours. And even whenever I was working at the end of, I mean, a lot of us here worked at the movie theater. Even at the last like, I don't know, 6 months that I was there, like I would be doing stuff all the time. And for one, I'd get no recognition for it, so I could see why people have no motivation to do anything anyway. But like, I don't know. It just makes me mad to see people not do anything and then still get the jobs while I don't.
Anyone?
Anybody else have anything about this topic? Maybe I was just ranting. I don't know.
No, I agree with you.
Then again, like you guys were talking about earlier, you get paid minimum wage. You're gonna do the minimum amount of work.
That was my next topic. If you're paid minimum wage, should you be expected to put in your maximum amount of effort all the time? And if not, how much should you be expected to put in?
As much as I'm getting paid.
Okay.
How much is that though? Like money to how much you're doing?
I think we're trying to draw a correlation between the two. We use the word minimum in both cases, and I don't think that's.
I didn't say how. I didn't say
Not
should you be
necessarily
using the
minimum
minimum
wage.
effort. I actually said should you be expected to do the maximum effort?
Right.
And if not, how much?
Right. And what I'm saying is a lot of people say, minimum wage. I don't really have to put that much effort in. It's just minimum wage. But really,
That's not necessarily true. It's just like for at least in my situation, I'm not gonna put out the maximum amount of work, especially for people who are unappreciative. And
yeah, I'm gonna say it really depends. I hate to say it depends to any question, but if you want to advance, then you have to put in maximum effort no matter what. If it's just like a summer job, I think you should still do what your managers tell you, but not go.
no, I'm not saying
Yeah.
don't do what you're asked to do,
But
but I'm not gonna go an extra mile for it. If
I honestly don't feel like any of us have really maybe gone the extra mile in what it really should mean.
In work? No.
Yeah. So
I feel like I maybe have at some point
I have
at there
certain
but
days.
after
That's it.
just the way I've been treated up. No, not anymore.
Occasionally I put in that huge extra effort just because maybe someone like I'm friends with everyone at my work, so maybe like I know the person doesn't
Yeah.
feel well and they're coming in tomorrow, and the night before I'll work really hard so that way they're set up for the morning.
right.
But
And
I
I
mean,
don't think that has to do with the amount you're paid at all. Then, right?
No.
Am I right?
that's more just me being nice to my friend.
Right. So I'm gonna say that it doesn't matter if you're getting paid minimum wage or not. It doesn't matter if you have a degree and you're making $30 an hour. It matters for one how much you like your work and how much it matters to you.
Well, I think if you're like working in like a company, if you have a full-time job, like a stable full-time job, and you're under contract, you should be expected to put in like
Overtime?
not your overtime, but like
I think you should be expected.
you should
to
be
do a certain
expected to
amount of
do
work.
a quality job of your job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of get.
I was trying to think of a phrase to say besides quality job since I was saying of a job, but
Yeah. Quality work.
yes,
I don't know. But
like
I see what you mean.
not like putting in like just scraping by, like quality. Like doesn't have to be. I'm not saying it needs to be the best because I mean some people they just aren't gonna do that. It's just not gonna happen. But I mean it should be good. You shouldn't just be scraping by. In something like that. But I mean, there you also probably have opportunities for advancement and things like that. So,
But Aaron, what do you think?
I'm kind of with Adam. If you're getting paid minimum wage, you shouldn't have to be. You shouldn't have to put that much, like maximum effort or whatnot. I'm not saying lazily do nothing, but you shouldn't have to. I don't know, work your ass off.
Would you say that if the managers were really nice to you and not like gave you a raise or something, but were just friendly people to talk to and stuff, would you work harder?
I think
Yeah,
it's
or
just,
work
it comes down
harder.
to
Would you work your
It
maximum?
really it would no, probably not still, but I mean I guess that feeling of respect, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
would make me like work harder, but it
Actually,
won't make me work my maximum.
I actually have a perfect example for this. All right, seafood manager is pretty lazy, and I mean like he's a nice guy and all, but I mean like he's just kind of lazy. And so no one that really works in the seafood department really respects him that much. I mean, like they respect the fact that he's got a good knowledge base and he's a nice guy, and I mean he can work very hard when he chooses to, but he just chooses not to most of the time. He's really known for like just kind of walking around and talking to a lot of people. But the meat manager, on the other hand, is like the hardest working person I've ever met in my life. Like he is always going. Today he was there. He came in when he wasn't scheduled because he felt because he wanted to make sure we were caught up for the day. Ended up staying like 12 hours or something like that, just because we were behind and he wanted to catch up and he didn't want to make anyone else stay late. That was like he came in so no one else would have to stay for overtime. Like because everyone else didn't want to stay, he like asked them.
He's probably a salary. Is he salary?
What?
Is he salary or hourly? You know.
Or do you know?
I don't know for sure. I think he's salary because he's a manager.
So if he's salary, then yeah.
No, I
that's-
mean like he's just literally the hardest working guy I've ever met in my life. He runs everywhere. I'm not joking. He doesn't walk. He runs.
No, what I was saying was if he's salary, then he's completely doing that because he's wanting to help people out. He's not doing it
I
because it
think
helps him.
I think he is. I think all managers are salary
That's crazy.
because they don't want because then they're worried people would abuse it if they weren't.
Oh,
salary.
yeah.
So I mean
I
like
guess that is just a genuine.
he's just genuinely a really nice guy who's a really hard worker. He believes that he should put in his maximum amount of effort because he's the one responsible for all of us. He's the kind of guy that instead of being like, "Oh, you didn't get that done. I'm sorry," he'll be like, "Okay, let me help you with that, or let me do that for you." So in the meat department, if like he asks you to do something, no one really questions him at all because they respect him because
Yeah.
he's a really hard worker.
And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about a little bit earlier. I think that that guy would, would definitely deserve a raise, and I think that nobody else would question that necessarily. But I think how it works a lot of time is that it just matters who you know and how long you've been there, more so than how hard you work, and that's probably what pulls a lot of people from putting in their maximum.
He is starting to get a little bit more like recognition. Like
Yeah.
just today they called him and they're sending him to go train some other managers in a different state, and he's like the whole time he's there he's getting paid overtime for like every
Yeah,
single
which-
hour he works there.
I mean, that's awesome, and I'm glad that he's getting recognition for that.
But I just thought that was an interesting. You brought up they don't work as hard or not working as hard in respect and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, we have one side where we do like basically in seafood, no one does anything. Everyone just scrapes right at the bare minimum because no one's gonna do any extra.
Yeah.
And in meat, everyone does like what they're asked of them, like a quality job of what they're asked for them.
I guess that's it. Aaron, you haven't talked very much. You look like you're about to fall asleep.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, anybody have anything else to say?
Yeah.
Nope. Bye, everyone.
See you later, everybody.